Hi there, my name's Chrissy Sains and I'm the author of An Alien in the Jam Factory, Treasure Under the Jam Factory and Slugs Invade the Jam Factory. And I'm here today to read you the first chapter of Treasure Under the Jam Factory. So I hope you enjoy it, and here we go. Chapter 1. The village of Willowden Green buzzed with rumours about Maclay's jam factory. Something funny was going on up there. Something strange. Well, something stranger than usual, anyway. Maclay's jam had always been a bit strange. For a start, the factory was kept in absolute secrecy. Bulletproof glass, alarms on every door, and a massive sign that said, "This is a strictly no strawberry zone." Nevertheless, rumours had dribbled out like drips of jam on the edge of the jar. The villagers had heard about the roller coaster that ran all the way around the factory, the fountain that trickled 3 flavours of jam, and the giant robotic hands and tools that made it all. The factory produced flavours like electrifying elderberry, where just one mouthful would make your hair stand on end for the rest of the day, or sherbet lemon fizz, a flavour so tinglingly tickly that one nibble would cause a giggling fit that lasted an hour. Not to mention Racing Runner Bean, a jam that had actually been banned at school sports day after Usain Wiz told everyone that it was the secret formula behind his annual win at the egg and spoon race. How did that astonishing factory keep producing such magnificent jam inventions? And more importantly, who came up with all of the incredible ideas? Hushed whispers raced around the playground of Willowden Green School with various theories. "It's got to be a wizard," whispered little George Baker. "They're using magic." "No way," slapped Lucy Dunning. "It's Santa's elves. They don't have anything to do in the summer, so they go to work in Maclay's jam." "You're both wrong," piped up Oti Masood. "I know exactly who it is." The children all leaned in to listen as Oti cupped her hand over her mouth and whispered dramatically, "They're aliens. They make the jam using special alien powers." "Why don't you just ask Scooter?" asked a rather clever young boy called Joshua Small. "He must know. He lives there after all." The children all turned to look at Scooter Maclay as he walked across the playground, his bog brush hair sticking up from his head, his shoulder covered in jam tart crumbs, his left shoe a little larger to allow for his leg splint. "Nah," Lucy shook her head decisively. "He'd never tell." Then, 3 months ago, Maclay's jam had mysteriously closed. The non-stop whirring and whizzing and whooshing of the factory chimneys had fallen silent and still. Shortly afterwards, there'd been an announcement in the paper. "Maclay's jam to expand. In a bold new move, Maclay's Jam Factory will be expanding into the premises of Dodgy Donuts, the rival factory next door that used to belong to that old codger Daffy Dodgy." It was all very odd. Daffy herself seemed to have mysteriously left town. No one had seen, sight, nor sound of her, nor her guinea pig with his white coat and his bad attitude. Not that anyone really minded. Her donuts tasted like cardboard and she wasn't very nice, unlike the Maclays, who might be a bit secretive, but were friendly about it at least. The villagers watched as one delivery truck after another arrived at the village, turning merrily up the little dirt track towards the old donut factory, carrying all sorts of strange things. 7 truckloads of compost, huge glass panels, even a truck full of banana trees. And that was when the most exciting thing in the entire history of Willowden Green happened. A poster went up outside the village hall. A poster inviting the entire village to a grand reopening at the new premises of the factory. Maclay's Jam grand reopening. For one night only, the villagers of Willowden Green are invited to see inside our factory. Tonight, 6 p.m. Squeals of excitement spread through the village like wildfire. They were finally allowed in. What tantalising treats would be in store for them? What delectable delights? And it was tonight? Within seconds, the entire village had scattered like a herd of goats. They bolted back home to dust off their tuxedos and ball gowns in preparation for the wondrous night ahead. All except for one villager, that is. Perry Pincher stared at the poster, his eyes twinkling with malice as he twizzled his pencil-thin moustache villainously. This was just the opportunity he'd been waiting for. He tore the poster down, turned on his heel and began tap dancing his way home with a wide smile, his gold tooth glinting in the sunlight. He stopped outside the door of a small antique shop, smoothed down his velvet jacket and sashayed inside, wiggling his hips to the jingle of the bell. "Colonel Pom-Pom," he called, "I've finally found us a way into that factory. There'll be no more petty thieving for us. We're going to be millionaires." Meep. A small grey ferret poked his head out from a jewellery box, his arms covered in gold rings. He stuffed them into a small bum bag he was wearing, licked his paws and smoothed his whiskers. Then fox-trotted, or rather ferret-trotted, delightedly towards Perry. "Those daft Maclays have invited the whole village to see inside. Don't I always say, all good things come to those who wait?" Meep. Colonel Pom-Pom held up a ring with a furry grin. "Ha! Of course, all gold things come to those who wait. Good one, Colonel Pom-Pom." They sniggered together like 2 cheeky schoolboys. "Shall we?" Perry and Colonel Pom-Pom shimmied their way towards a short stone staircase at the back of the shop, which led down to a large padlocked door. Perry pulled a brass key out of his pocket, unlocked the door and opened it with a flourish. "Ta-da!" He clicked his heels and stepped inside. The room was filled with boxes of plunder that Perry had pilfered. Pocket watches, gold rings, books, photos, teddy bears, even an old television that Perry had found in a skip filled with Daffy Dodge's old stuff. Perry ignored it all and marched straight towards the back of the room to his most valuable find of all, half a faded yellowing map pinned to the wall. "The entrance is somewhere inside that old donut factory." He stuck the grand reopening poster to the wall next to it before turning back to the map and rubbing his long finger thoughtfully along the torn edge of the page. "It would be so much easier if we had the whole thing," he sighed. "Meep!" Colonel Pom-Pom wiggled his nose significantly. That's true. Perry gave Colonel Pom-Pom's nose a fond tap. With your nose for treasure, we don't need it. He turned back towards the poster with renewed gusto. Tonight, we'll find that treasure and we'll nab it. Meep! Colonel Pom-Pom twirled delightedly on the spot as Perry's step ball changed behind him. First Captain Dodgybeard's treasure, then on to the best treasure of all. The one owner and their pet dance championship crown. This is our year. His smile dropped. It does mean we'll have to go inside that rotten jam factory, though. We've had 3 blissful months without the stench seeping out. If only it could stay closed forever. His moustache twitched. Wait a second, Colonel Pom-Pom. I've just had an idea. Perry rubbed his hands together gleefully. Maybe we should sabotage the factory while we're at it. A few bricks into the machinery ought to... Sabotage what? Factory, Uncle Perry? Ah! Perry jumped. A young girl stood with her hands on her hips in the cellar doorway behind him. She wore dungarees that were a little on the big side, plimsolls and mismatched socks, one green and one red. Oh, it's you, he rolled his eyes. Still here then? Well, I do live here, Uncle Perry. Cat Pincher pulled a jam sandwich out of her dungaree pocket and took a large bite. Get it away, get it away! Perry flapped his arms towards her. It smells! He pulled a clothes peg from his pocket and shoved it on the end of his schnozzle as he shuffled back up the stairs to the shop and locked the cellar door behind them. It's stinky and slimy and sticky and yucky, he glared at Cat. Have you even tried it? Cat spoke with her mouth full. Of course not. Why should I try it? It's got fruit in it. You're a child, aren't you? I thought you'd understand that at least. Dad says I should always try things before I make my mind up about whether or not I like them. Cat took another bite. Yes, that sounds like exactly the sort of thing my goody-for-nothing brother would say, Perry muttered. Hey, what's Mum's jewellery box doing in here? Cat pointed to the counter where the jewellery box that Colonel Pom-Pom had been inside just moments ago was sitting. What? Perry grabbed it and shoved it behind his back. I don't know what you're talking about. He flashed Cat his most oily smile. And where's Mr. Jammy, my favourite teddy? Cat continued suspiciously. He wasn't in my bed this morning. Perry's eyes darted towards the cellar door, then over to Colonel Pom-Pom. How should we know? They both shrugged, not so innocently. Mum and Dad should never have asked you to take care of the shop. Cat's eyes narrowed. By the time they get back, there won't be anything left to sell. Oh, don't worry, little kitty cat. There'll be plenty of this old toots left for them. Perry curled his lip as he peered around the shop. Millionaires like Colonel Pom-Pom and I don't need to bother with this sort of junk. Colonel Pom-Pom pulled a silver thimble from his bum bag, poked his tongue out at Cat and flung it dismissively over his shoulder. Except, Cat crossed her arms. Well, you're not a millionaire, she raised her eyebrows. Are you? Not yet. Perry gave his moustache an especially villainous twizzle as he glanced sideways at the cellar door, then turned back to Cat with a confident sneer. But I soon will be. There. That was Chapter 1 of Treasure Under the Jam Factory. I hope you enjoyed listening to it. You'll have to read to find out what happens. But thank you for listening and hopefully hear from you soon. Thank you. Bye.